I chose Suffolk because I did 4 years in the Marine Corps and I wanted to get my feet wet in the academic scene. Suffolk seemed like the right choice for me because it's close to home and it offers a lot of opportunities for veterans.
I chose Suffolk because it was a real easy transition for me. I'm going to be going towards a nursing degree. The liberal arts program here would suffice the prerequisites to complete so I can attend the next step, which would be Stony Brook.
I was trying to be mindful of a school that would allow me to reintegrate myself into the community and be a student at the same time. And I thought that Suffolk has done that for me. It has provided me a lot of opportunities. They've definitely prepared me for the next step, which is to be attending Fordham in the fall.
Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be here on this panel in this format, and I want to thank Kelly for allowing me to do a video because I needed to leave the conference on Friday night. My portion of this panel is to take a look at student veterans from an administrative perspective, and really I'm going to focus on the nuts and bolts of the GI Bill. What I did was I met with our director, our college director of Veterans Affairs, and if you're fortunate to have somebody like that at your campus, that's a really important role because this is complicated, more complicated than I thought it would be. So basically, the post 9/11 GI Bill covers tuition, textbooks, and a housing allowance. And the housing allowance depends on the region that the student is in. Now, because this is Long Island and quite expensive, their housing allowance is about $3,200 a month here. But the student veteran has to be enrolled in the school to get the housing allowance. The first thing that we're trying to do here is educate faculty, because if you're like us, you probably have a lot of adjunct faculty, and you have more and more student veterans enrolling as they come back. And one of the things that has been happening, and we realized was a problem, was at the end of the semester, unknowingly and unwittingly, an adjunct professor or even a full-time professor might give a student veteran a W or a withdrawal. And we have a pretty loose withdrawal policy. What we found was happening is that because of the sacrifices the veterans had made and not fully understanding how the benefit worked, sometimes a faculty member, when a student veteran was failing, would put a withdrawal or a W in as a final grade, thinking I'm doing a nice thing because I'm not going to impact their GPA. That's actually the opposite. If a student veteran fails a class, they continue to get their benefit. That class will be paid for. If they get a withdrawal or a W, their housing and their tuition is prorated back to their last date of attendance. So the W is not their friend. It depends what kind of policy your school has. Ours is pretty liberal, so sometimes people do think they're doing the right thing by giving a student a W, but it's actually very problematic. I spoke with Shannon O'Neill, who is our Director of Veterans Affairs, and this is what she told me. The most important message is that grades should not be given based on the fact that a student is a veteran. They have to get the grade that they earned no matter what. And then she said something that caught me off guard, but it's true. She said it's actually fraud because this is federal money. And sometimes what she's experienced is faculty being so in awe of what the veteran did or what they've been through and the sacrifices that they made that they've lost sight of that aspect that it could be fraudulent to not fill in the appropriate grade. And actually, if you do that, you're not just putting their benefit in jeopardy. The school can get in trouble too. So she said that was important to convey. But the flip side of that is, what can we do, right? What we are also trying to do, in addition to educating people about the way the grades would impact the benefit, is encouraging our faculty to provide accommodations, increasing their awareness, which I think other panelists are going to talk about some of the issues that these students deal with. But we want to do everything in our power to assure students' success. So, for example, making it really easy for them to get to a tutoring center, or actually bringing them there if they're struggling, or a writing center, making them aware of all the other resources that many community colleges have and that are designed for those first 2 years. The other thing is to invite them to office hours, to get to know them as an individual, not just a veteran. And I know that seems fairly obvious, but again, to make that overture. I don't know about the people here, But I usually only see my student in office hours, my students, and I'm begging them to come see me, and I only see them in December or May when they're concerned about their grade. So I'm always trying to say, come a little bit sooner, let me get to know you, let's work on some things. So that's really important to do, that personal touch, and the thing that community colleges are known for. Now, there's something else that's really interesting about all of this. She went on to add one other thing. Don't assume all veterans are damaged. Get to know them individually, hence the office hours. But if you're advising them and you get to know them, there is something they should know, and not a lot of them do or understand this. From a community college perspective, our tuition is super low and very affordable compared to a private institution. And the student veterans can save their GI Bill benefit, their post 9/11 GI Bill benefit, for the four-year institution. So sometimes it's in their best interest to use state veteran aid and traditional financial aid to pay for their community college courses for the first 2 years and save the housing benefit and all of the other post 9/11 GI Bill benefits for the more expensive school that's coming later. So that's something I didn't know or didn't think of, and it's important to advise them about that. And in fact, we had 2 students recently. This is a great story. And they paid for their tuition using state veterans benefits and financial aid. They saved the post 9/11 GI Bill. They did really well here. They both got accepted into Fordham University, and they are going there with no out-of-pocket expenses because they saved the GI Bill. So, as Shannon said, it's really important to have somebody who knows all the intricacies of these policies because it's pretty complicated. And then when you add in the fact that there are alternative sources of veterans aid, it's critical that faculty understand that the big picture of their ability to pay for school and what will work best for them moving forward. So thank you all very much. I can't ask if you have questions because I wouldn't know if you did, but certainly you can email me or get in touch if there's anything else I can do. And again, thank you so much for having me.
I think what really makes Suffolk special is the dedication of the faculty here. They have the ability to bring me into the environment of education where I've never really been strong at, where I have support systems here at Suffolk that are invaluable support systems that I could not have done without.
One of the most helpful things that Suffolk has is that we have a great group of veterans here. We have a fairly large amount, but we're all very close and interconnected. In a sense, it's like you never left the military. You know, you have that camaraderie here, you have that support group that's always here for you if you need anything with school.
They are all set up around education. So that's honing in that ability for me to come from another environment of where we're doing training all day and where we have physical fitness and coming to an environment of education. I feel like the faculty here really helps me transition.